capture memories and see those smiles again. Are you?
Nama saya Orani bin Makut, selaku pengurus pelancongan di Kampung Semangkap Kudat. Di Kampung Semangkap ini para pelancong boleh melihat cara-cara membuat gong. Dan sekiranya pelancong ingin mencoba membuat gong, kami akan ajar. Selain digunakan sebagai alat musik, gong ini juga boleh buat hantaran kawin, perubatan, dan peresmian. Kami akan bawa pelancong ke gong besar yang terletak di Padang, seberat 980 kilo dan tinggi 22 kaki, yang terbesar di Malaysia. Para pelancong boleh singgah ke Dewan Kraftangan untuk membeli cendera kenangan.
Hi, I'm Irene Mositol. I'm manager of Kibatu Nature Farm, which is located in Pakostro's headquarters in Penampang. Welcome to my home. I'm passionate about the work that I do here, which involve training communities farmers around Sabah, as well as teaching volunteers and tourists about natural farming, recycling, and we also working on upcycle activities. Ecotourism is important to Kibatu Nature Farm, as it creates awareness about the importance of producing our own food and taking care of the environment. At Kibatu Nature Farm, we are promoting the use of Sabah's best crop varieties, specially selected from our countryside. Take a tour at our farm and learn how you too can plant food in your backyard, balconies, and spaces with sunlight. Get hands-on experience as we teach you how to segregate your waste and make your own eco bricks or compost fertilizer for your garden. Enjoy a wide varieties of sensory experiences at our sensory garden. Taste fresh Tegless bee honey straight from the hive. You can also find fresh produce, sustainable and traditional handicraft from our community market. We want to create a community who believe that great food can be grown personally and with loving care. To support Kibatu Nature Farm, all the fellow farmers, outdoor loving volunteer, and curious visitor are welcome. But beware, our passion is infectious. Food and education stay, be your cup of tea. Hope to see you at Kibatu Nature Farm.
Saya Kamarul Az.
Nama saya Orani bin Makut, selaku pengurus pelancongan di Kampung Semangkap Kudat. kampung Semangkap ini, para pelancong boleh melihat cara-cara membuat gong. Dan sekiranya pelancong ingin mencoba membuat gong, kami akan ajar. Selain digunakan sebagai alat musik, gong ini juga boleh buat hantaran kawin, perubatan, dan peresmian. Kami akan bawa pelancong ke gong besar yang terletak di Padang, seberat 980 kilo dan tinggi 22 kaki, yang terbesar di Malaysia. Para pelancong boleh singgah ke Dewan Kraftangan untuk membeli cendera kenangan.
Hi, I'm Irene Mositol. I'm manager of Kiva Nature Farm, which is located in Pakostra headquarters in Penampang. Welcome to my home. I'm passionate about the work that I do here, which involve training communities farmers around Sabah, as well as teaching volunteers and tourists about natural farming, recycling, and we also working on upcycle activities. Ecotourism is important to Kiva Nature Farm, as it creates awareness about the importance of producing our own food and taking care of the environment. At Kiva Nature Farm, we are promoting the use of Sabah's best crop varieties, specially selected from our countryside. Take a tour at our farm and learn how you too can plant food in your backyard, balconies, and spaces with sunlight. Get hands-on experience as we teach you how to segregate your waste and make your own eco bricks or compost fertilizer for your garden. Enjoy a wide variety of sensory experiences at our sensory garden. Taste fresh Stainless bee honey straight from the hive. You can also find fresh produce, sustainable and traditional handicraft from our community market. We want to create a community who believe that great food can be grown personally and with loving care. To support Kiva Nature Farm, all your fellow farmers, outdoor loving volunteer, and curious visitor are welcome. But beware, our passion is infectious. Food and education stay, be your cup of tea. Hope to see you at Kiva Nature Farm.
Saya Kamarul Azman bin Qawasin, dikenali sebagai Payuki Seruling, dan saya pencipta alat musik tradisional seruling Payuki pada tahun 2015 sehingga kini. Saya sudah bermain alat musik seruling ini selama 21 tahun. Keistimewaan seruling Payuki ini mempunyai 3 bunyi yang unik yang tidak ada pada seruling lain. pencapaian paling terbesar dalam saya bermain alat musik seruling payuki ini, saya pernah mengharumkan nama Malaysia bertempat di Long Beach, California, USA dalam pertandingan World Champion of Performing Arts pada tahun 2016, dan saya telah berjaya merangkul 3 pingat gangsa, 2 pingat emas buat Malaysia. Saya mempunyai sebuah taman budaya inovasi Kundasang yang mana di dalamnya adalah tempat saya menghiburkan kepada pelancong-pelancong, contohnya daripada Sabah, Semenanjung, dan juga luar negara. Di dalam Taman Budaya Inovasi Kundasang ini mempunyai pelbagai jenis alat musik, contohnya seperti sempoton, seruling, marimba bambu, drum bambu, dan banyak lagi untuk saya jual kepada pelancong. Alat musik-musik tradisional di dalam Taman Budaya Inovasi Kundasang ini adalah hasil buatan saya sendiri.
Saya mengalu-alukan kedatangan Anda semua.
Who would have thought that we would be deprived of the wonders of the world? Things are different now, but I know it will get better. capture memories and see those smiles again. Are you?
Nama saya Orani bin Makut, selaku pengurus pelancongan di Kampung Semangkap Kudat. Di Kampung Semangkap ini, para pelancong boleh melihat cara-cara membuat gong Dan sekiranya pelancong ingin mencoba membuat gong, kami akan ajar. Selain digunakan sebagai alat musik, gong ini juga boleh buat hantaran kawin, perubatan, dan peresmian. Kami akan bawa pelancong ke gong besar yang terletak di Padang, seberat 980 kilo dan tinggi 22 kaki yang terbesar di Malaysia. Para pelancong boleh singgah ke Dewan Kraftangan untuk membeli cendera kenangan.
Hi, I'm Irene Mositol. I'm manager of Kibatu Nature Farm, which is located in Pakostro's headquarters in Penampang. Welcome to my home. I'm passionate about the work that I do here, which involve training communities farmers around Sabah, as well as teaching volunteers and tourists about natural farming, recycling, and we also working on upcycle activities. Ecotourism is important to Kibatu Nature Farm, as it creates awareness about the importance of producing our own food and taking care of the environment. At Kibatu Nature Farm, we are promoting the use of Sabah's best crop varieties, specially selected from our countryside. Take a tour at our farm and learn how you too can plant food in your backyard, balconies, and spaces with sunlight. Get hands-on experience as we teach you how to segregate your waste and make your own eco bricks or compost fertilizer for your garden. Enjoy a wide varieties of sensory experiences at our sensory garden. Taste fresh Tegless bee honey straight from the hive. You can also find fresh produce, sustainable and traditional handicraft from our community market. We want to create a community who believe that great food can be grown personally and with loving care. To support Kibatu Nature Farm, all your fellow farmers, outdoor loving volunteer, and curious visitor are welcome. But beware, our passion is infectious. Food and education stay, be your cup of tea. Hope to see you at Kibatu Nature Farm.
Saya Kamarul Azman bin Qawasin, dikenali sebagai Payuki Seruling, dan saya pencipta alat musik tradisional seruling Payuki pada tahun 2015 sehingga kini. Saya sudah bermain alat musik seruling ini selama 21 tahun. Keistimewaan seruling Payuki ini mempunyai 3 bunyi yang unik yang tidak ada pada seruling lain. Dan pencapaian paling terbesar dalam saya bermain alat musik seruling payuki ini, saya pernah mengharumkan nama Malaysia bertempat di Long Beach, California, USA dalam pertandingan World Champion of Performing Arts pada tahun 2016. Dan saya telah berjaya merangkul 3 pingat gangsa, 2 pingat emas buat Malaysia. Saya mempunyai sebuah taman budaya inovasi Kundasang yang mana di dalamnya adalah tempat saya menghiburkan kepada pelancong-pelancong, contohnya daripada Sabah, Semenanjung dan juga luar negara. Di dalam Taman Budaya Inovasi Kundasang ini mempunyai pelbagai jenis alat musik, contohnya seperti sempoton, seruling, marimba bambu, drum bambu, dan banyak lagi untuk saya jual kepada pelancong. Alat musik-musik tradisional di dalam Taman Budaya Inovasi Kundasang ini adalah hasil buatan saya sendiri.
Saya mengalu-alukan kedatangan Anda semua.
Who would have thought that we would be deprived of the wonders of the world? Things are different now, but I know it will get better.
Announcing the arrival of the Honorable Datuk Seri Panglima Dr. Jeffrey Kittingan, Deputy Chief Minister of Sabah and the State Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for Malaysia's national anthem and the Sabah state anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just witnessed a lively dance that captures the unity of Sabah, Malaysian Borneo. With more than 30 indigenous groups living coast to coast, the Muhibbah spirit of togetherness lives on amidst lush, conserved and protected areas, marine parks and rainforests right here in Sabah, the land below the wind. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam keluarga Malaysia, salam Sabah, maju jaya. We would like to welcome the following distinguished guests. The Honourable Datuk Seri Panglima Dr. Jeffrey Kittingan, Deputy Chief Minister and Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries of Sabah, representing the Right Honourable Datuk Seri Panglima Haji Haji Noor, the Chief Minister of Sabah. The Honourable Datuk Jeffrey bin Arifin, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment of Sabah. The Honourable State Cabinet Ministers, His Excellency Michaelis Rokas, Ambassador of the European Union Delegation and members of the Diplomatic Corps. The Honourable Datuk George Anthony Ginibun, Deputy Speaker of the Sabah State Assembly. The Honourable Sabah State Assistant Ministers. The Honourable Datuk Surveyor Haji Muhammad Yusri Abdullah, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment Sabah, and Chairman of the 2nd APC Sabah State Level Steering Committee. State Ministries Permanent Secretaries, State and Federal Heads of Department. Dr. McLaren Lakim, Director of Sabah Parks and Co-Chair of the 2nd APC International Steering Committee. We would also like to welcome representatives of IUCN with us today. Dr. Razan Al-Mubarak, President of IUCN, who is joining us virtually. Dr. Gretel Aguilar, Deputy Director General. Dr. Dindo Kampilan, Regional Director, IUCN Asia. And Dr. Madhu Rao, Chair, IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas. Distinguished speakers in plenaries, 6 working groups, side events, youth forum, and indigenous peoples and local communities forums, members of the Asia Protected Areas Partnership, heads of departments and agencies and representatives, partner NGOs, expert speakers, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen in attendance right here at SICC and virtually from around the world.
Kopi Vosian, selamat datang. Welcome to
the second Asia Parks Congress 2022. Allow me to introduce a fine individual standing next to me. She is not only the founder and program director of the Malaysia Ocean Youth Ambassadors, she has tirelessly advocated for many programs and events related to the environment and conservation in Sabah. I'm always inspired by her good work. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Melissa Leong.
Thank you, Ben. Kind words. And I am also honored to introduce my partner in crime today. He is a radio announcer with Kota Kinabalu's beloved radio station KK12 FM, making him literally the voice of the people. He is the man with a plan, and I've always admired his passion to make things happen here in Kota Kinabalu and Malaysia, actually. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-MC, Mr. Ben Uzair. So Ben, before we proceed, we also want to take a moment to acknowledge our virtual delegates who are joining us from all around the world. Kopi Vosian and a very warm welcome to all of you.
And joining us across numerous time zones around the world, we wish you a very productive day ahead with us right here in Kota Kinabalu. So, Melissa, the second Asia Parks Congress certainly is a momentous event. Would you like to give a short introduction to all who are attending today?
It would be my pleasure, Ben. The second Asia Parks Congress is a gathering of Asia's protected areas practitioners and stakeholders. It brings together leaders and decision makers from government, civil society, youth, indigenous peoples, business and academia from Asia and all around the world. They are here to share experiences, learn from one another, and respond to the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. The Congress will also address the growing pressures on the region's protected areas and how we can improve on concerted efforts in biodiversity conservation and the global climate crisis. The Congress will include plenary sessions, working group discussions, side events, and an exciting range of field trips. So, Ben, looks like our delegates have their calendars packed for the week.
Certainly is, and we would like to welcome our international visitors to Sabah. I've been waiting to say these three words. Welcome to Sabah. On the west coast is the city of Kota Kinabalu, where the Tunku Abdul Rahman Marine Park is located, along with Pulau Tiga Park. And deep in the interior, the Kinabalu Park, Malaysia's first UNESCO heritage site, is the home to Mount Kinabalu. And on the east coast, areas like Tawau Hills Park, Tun Sakaran Marine Park, and Sipadan Island Park continue to mesmerize visitors around the world. We are indeed delighted to welcome you to Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin the formalities of the day. We will have a few important individuals who will be addressing us this afternoon. First, to deliver his welcome address, please put your hands together for Datuk Surveyor Haji Muhammad Yusri Abdullah, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment of Sabah, and the Chairman of the Second Asia Parks Congress State Level Steering Committee. Datuk Surveyor Haji Muhammad Yusri, please.
Terima kasih pengacara dan kedua-dua pengacara majlis. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good evening. Kopi Sanangan dan Sodopon. The Honorable Datuk Seri Panglima Dr. G. Kitingan, Deputy Chief Minister, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, representing the Right Honorable Chief Minister of Sabah, the Honorable Datuk Jeffrey bin Haji Arifin, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment Sabah, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Datuk George Anthony Jinimun, Deputy Speaker of Sabah State Assembly, the Honorable Sabah State Assistant Ministers, Dr. Mark Larin, Director of Sabah Parks and Co-Chair of the Second Asia Pac Congress International Steering Committee, Dr. Rajan Al-Mubarak, President of IUCN, Dr. Gretel Aguila, Deputy Director General IUCN, Dr. Dindo Kampilan, Regional Director IUCN Asia, Dr. Madhu Rao, Chair IUCN Whole Commission and on Protected Areas, distinguished speaker in plenary, all the chairmen of 6 working group, side event, youth forum, indigenous people and local community forums, member of Asia Protected Asia Areas Partnership or APAP, head of departments and agency or representative, partner NGOs, expert speakers, friends from the medias, ladies and gentlemen in attendance, all joining us all over the world. First and foremost, I wish to welcome all the local and foreign guests and delegates to the Second Asia Pac Congress held in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. It is an honor and pleasure for Sabah State Government to host this Congress in collaboration with the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN. Sabah is not only land below the wind, but is also the land of endless potential and beauty, with the strategic location in Southeast Asia, diverse melting pot of distinctive culture, ethnicity and language, and its abundance of natural resources. distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Sabah prides itself in its unique geographical wonders, with the rainforest jungle being the more than 130 million years old, home with the highest tropical tree in the world, located in Danam Valley at the height of 108 meters, and our iconic Mount Kinabalu, in which the surrounding area, the Kinabalu Park, was officially designated by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site in recognition in our rich biodiversity. The government of Malaysia and the Sabah state government acknowledge the importance of the natural environment and its ecosystem with the inception and endorsement of various policies and strategies, namely the Sabah Biodiversity Strategies 2012 to 2022, a 10-year strategy that charts Sabah commitment and contribution to fulfill the pledge by Malaysia to implement the Conservation on Biological Diversity 1992, Convention of Biological Diversity 1992. The launching of National Policy in Biological Diversity 2016 to 2025 also exemplify the state commitment and progress as the first state in the country to have an existing biodiversity conservation plan in place. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, through our agency, Sabah Park, Sabah has outlined a few goals to be achieved in line with the national policy and biological diversity and the Sabah development plan, that is Sabah Maju Jaya. Under the 2025 Sabah Park strategic planning, our park are targeted to fulfill our vision, that is people of Sabah living in harmony with nature, and our mission to preserve areas in Sabah that contain outstanding natural values as a heritage for the benefit of the people now and the future. Through this goal, Sabah Park are recognized internationally for conservation practices, facilities, services, and education programs that are on par with the best park in the world through the achievement of the international recognition such as UNESCO World Heritage, Man and Biosphere Reserve, UNESCO Global Geopark, or similar internationally. The park are recognized as a tropical ecosystem, both terrestrial and marine, and are able to attract top-notch scientists and research programs from all over the world. Our target is to publish at least 20 books and 20 research papers, either author or co-author by our own staff. The park have become the most preferred for nature tourism in Sabah, and have become a most visited site for local and international visitors. We are expecting to receive more than 3 million visitors annually starting in year 2025. The park also have the most exciting nature education program that can be participated in by anyone regardless of age, nationality, or background. We are currently developing our nature education program so that we can achieve our goal, which is to achieve at least 150,000 visitors and researchers every year starting in year 2025. The relationship with the all park stakeholders are symbiotically harmonized. Long-term goal on our Sabah Park strategic planning is on schedule and will be fully achieved by year 2025. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, urban development has impacted Sabah ecosystem tremendously, with the climate change not only affecting the habitat of flora and fauna, but also the livelihood of the people. The agriculture industry has taken a severe hit due to the changing and unpredictable weather, causing scarcity in crops and livestock. As we pride ourselves as a state of abundant resources, the insecurity we are facing due to the shift of climate is absolutely worrying. Henceforth, the state development plan Sabah Maju Jaya take into consideration environmental conservation and protection of one of its main priority. Technology has taken the front line in connecting the global community, and it was key for the state to adapt and remain relevant in terms of environmental conservation and protection. Technological advances in Sabah have moved beyond individual uses and basic infrastructure, and towards preservation and conservation of the whole ecosystem. The uses of drone and satellite imaging have been adopted in Sabah for rapid reaction time to undesirable events such as deforestation and illegal poaching, for the protection and conservation of habitat and species. Environmental monitoring networks have been established for a variety of purposes, such as monitoring water quality, detecting harmful algal blooms, or detecting forest fire. This information can lead to the rapid change in conservation policy by providing a source of data for policymakers and governmental agencies' action, as well as to facilitate rapid and effective management response. With the increasing urbanization, the quality and quantity of nature experiences is degrading, especially with the rapid global modernization and physical development. It is the government responsibility to preserve and safeguard the interests of the indigenous communities. Technology advancement and modernization is not completely bad for conservation and protection of nature. Funding and investment for nature conservation will enable the government to strengthen, deliverable, and implement sustainable development in line with Sabah Maju Jaya aspiration. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to once again take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to all our collaborators, sponsors, delegates, and participants for your ever generous support and contribution in making this Congress a reality. Once again, I welcome you to our beautiful city, and I wish everyone a fruitful Congress. Terima kasih, kawan sikau.
Thank you, Datuk Surveyor. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver his address, please welcome the Honorable Datuk Jeffrey Arifin, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment of Sabah, Malaysia. Datuk Jeffrey Arifin, dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Sabah Maju Jaya, and salam keluarga Malaysia. The Honorable Datuk Seri Panglima Dr. Jeffrey Kitingan, Deputy Chief Minister and Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries of Sabah, representing the Right Honorable Datuk Seri Panglima Haji Haji Noor, the Chief Minister of Sabah, the Honorable State Sabah Ministers, His Excellency Michalis Rokas, Ambassador of the European Union delegations and members of the diplomatic corporation, the Honorable Datuk George Anthony Giribun, Deputy Speaker of Sabah State Assembly, the Honorable Sabah State Assistant Ministers, the Honorable Datuk Xavier Haji Muhammad Yusri Abdullah, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment Sabah, and Chairman of the Second APC Sabah State Level Steering Committee, State Ministries, Permanent Secretaries, State and Federal Heads of Department, Dr. McLaren Lakim, Director of Sabah Parks and Co-Chair of the Second APC International Steering Committee, Dr. Razan Al-Mubarak, President of IUCN, who joined us virtually today, Dr. Gredel Agela, Deputy Director General IUCN, Dr. Dindo Kampelan, Regional Director IUCN Asia, Dr. Madhu Rao, Chair IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas, distinguished speakers in plenaries, 6 working groups, side events, youth forum, and indigenous people and local communities forums, members of the Asia Protected Areas Partnership, APAP, heads of the departments and agencies or representatives, partner NGOs, expert speakers, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen in attendance who joining us online from all over the world. With great pleasure, the Government of Sabah, through the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment, expresses my greatest and humblest gratitude in welcoming everyone to the second Asia Pax Congress held in Sabah International Convention Center, Kota Kinabalu. The state government of Sabah and the ministry are very privileged and honored to host this Congress, the first of its kind in Malaysia, and welcome all delegates to Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the IU for Conservation of Nature for collaborating with us through Sabah Parks in this momentous Congress, the first regional conservation event after the adoption of the new global biodiversity framework. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, famed for its pristine beaches, exotic rainforests, and majestic mountains. The Malaysia state of Sabah flourished on the back of its vast natural resources and burgeoning tourism industry. Sabah has more than 40 indigenous and ethnic groups with different languages and lifestyles that revolve around the environment unique to their geographical district within the state, protectors of the sea, mountain, forest, and the land. An integration of traditional knowledge of the local indigenous community and scientific and green development planning is key in ensuring coexistence between preservation of nature and sustainable urban development. The theme of the Congress, Parks for Nature and People, is apt in highlighting the interconnection between the nature and society. The Sabah state government is highly aware of the importance of the natural environment and its ecosystem services and biodiversity to the well-being of people and to the local native indigenous. The upcoming COP15 in Kunming, China, has set guidelines for global government relationship with biodiversity in ensuring shared vision of living harmoniously with nature are fulfilled by 2050. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Sabah has 9 parks covering a total area of 216,416.76 hectares, and is an enduring legacy of those who have contributed toward the explorations, discovery, and preservation of this amazing natural landscape and habitats. First, Kinabalu Park, with a total area of 75,370 hectares, become Malaysia's first World Heritage Site for its outstanding universal values, fulfilling the criteria under Category 9, that is ecosystem, and 10 endemism of UNESCO. Kinabalu Park is currently undergoing its final evaluations for global geopark status. We hope to receive this recognition from UNESCO, and through these 3 recognition, Malaysia will be awarded the Triple Crown by UNESCO through Sabah Parks. Number 2, Crocker Range Park, with a total area of 139,919 hectares, is the second domain and biosphere site, which holds the water catchment for the communities of Keningau and Tembunan district, and is home to various species of flora and fauna. Thirdly, Tawau Hills Park, with a total area of 27,972 hectares, is the third largest terrestrial area in Sabah Parks, with 3 mountains, and is home to one of the biggest trees in the world. Number 4, the first ever marine protected area in Malaysia, Tunku Abdul Rahman Park, with a total area of 4,929 hectares, is one of the most popular marine parks in Sabah and is also listed as one of the most mesmerizing sunset experiences in the world. Number 5, the marine and the Depte Koprap forest in Pulau Tiga Park with total area of 15,864 hectares are unique and offer high biodiversity from both worlds. Number 6, Tun Sekaran Marine Park with a total area of 35,000 hectares is located within the Coral Triangle Initiative area, which holds the richest marine biodiversity in the world. Number 7, Turtle Island Park with a total area of 1,740 hectares has released more than 17 million turtle hatchling into the waters of Sandakan. The turtle conservation program in this park is recognized as one of the best conservation efforts in ensuring turtle survival. Number 8, Sipadan Island Park with a total area of 16,860 hectares holds breathtaking underwater marine habitats and scenery with world-class diving experiences said to be an untouched piece of art by the famous French marine explorer and scientist Jacques Cousteau. Number 9, Tun Mustafa Park with a total area of 898,763 hectares is nature's largest multiple-use marine protected area established to achieve balance between marine habitat protection and sustainable use. The park adopts collaborative management and promotes local community involvement. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to mention that Sabah Parks pledged to achieve Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, by the United Nations, especially strategy number 2, that is contribute to the achievement of international goals of SDGs by extending marine park areas in Sabah. 2 marine parks in Sabah are yet to be gazetted, which are Mantanani Island Park with a total area of 196,998 hectares in 2020, and Double Bay Park with a total area of 103,393 hectares in 2022. Sabah also plans to extend its terrestrial park area, UNSDG 15, where Long Pasir Highland area is targeted as the next terrestrial park in Sabah. Currently, the total size of terrestrial protected areas in Sabah is 1.9 million hectares, or 25% of forested areas in Sabah. By 2025, Sabah is committed to continuing its policy to gazette high biodiversity forests as totally protected areas, which make up at least 30% of the state. In addition, 7.44% of Sabah coastlines currently marine protected areas measuring 1.015 million hectares. By 2025, Sabah hopes to gazette another 1.026 million hectares as protected areas, making it 14.8% in total. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, UNESCO designated Kinabalu Park as Malaysia's first World Heritage Site in 2000 for its exceptional universal values and position as one of the world's most important ecological sites. It is a gazette designed to save Mount Kinabalu's vegetation and animals. Kinabalu Park is expected to be designated as a UNESCO Global Geopark site in the near future. This distinction will go down in Sabah's history as the first time 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites have been designated along and within the Crocker Range, commonly known as Sabah Backbone. Kinabalu Park is rich in endemic flora and fauna species that can only be found within the park's area and has become one of the best examples of protection and management of parks and protected areas in Southeast Asia. Kinabalu Park has received over 700 people from across the world in the last 10 years, making it one of the most significant contributors to Sabah and local communities living around the park. Crocker Range Park and its surrounding area were declared as a Crocker Range Biosphere Reserve, CRBR, by UNESCO in 2014 as part of the Man Biosphere Program. After Tasik Chini Pahang, CRBR is Malaysia's second biosphere reserve. The CRBR program is a contribution by Sabah State Government to global efforts to address economic issues, education, scientific research, cultural science, and enjoyment for the world people. Under Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei Hearts of Borneo (HOB) efforts, Sabah is on track to achieve 30% of total protected areas. The state administration wanted to increase it to 30% of the state's land area, up from the current 26% or 1.9 million hectares currently designated as TPE under the HOB project. In Borneo, 75% of the 1.9 million hectares of TPE were within Malaysia's boundary in Borneo. Since the HOB initiative began 14 years ago, Sabah has made great progress in forest protection. The TPA expansion goals align with the Hala 7 Sabah Maju Jaya SMJ 2021 to 2025, Sabah's 5-year development plan. Sabah had retained 50% of its landmass under forest cover through continuous efforts, and the state had increased forest cover to 65%, with 52% designated as forest reserve, parks, and wildlife reserve or sanctuary. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this Congress will be a landmark event attracting conservation experts from across Asia and beyond. The Congress brings to light 6 important conservation issues facing the region, which are nature-based solutions for health and well-being, governance of protected and conserved areas, connectivity and transboundary conservation, effective, protected and conserved areas, economic and financial sustainability of protected and conserved areas, and urban conservation and a new generation. I would also like to acknowledge the World Commission on Protected Areas, WCPA, and the Korean National Parks Services for their commitment to support and co-organize the youth and the indigenous people participation in this Congress. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to once again take this opportunity to thank our Malaysian and international participants to this Congress, both physical and visual, including representatives from government-protected area agencies, civil society organizations, academia, research institutes, and the private sectors. I believe that the protection and conservation of the whole ecosystem requires participation from all parties. And with that, I express my humblest gratitude. I would also like to extend my deepest appreciation to IUCN, APAP, Sabah Parks, and the lead organization for each working group for the collaboration and support in realizing today's event. On that note, I wish everyone a productive and a fruitful session, insyaAllah. Sekian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Ponsiko Kotohadan. Terima kasih and thank you to the Honorable Dato' Jeffrey Arifin. Well, before we move on with our next agenda, I'd like to personally welcome each and every person who's joining us virtually right now. We do have a Zoom session. We also have Facebook and also YouTube. Maybe for some of our delegates who are with us physically right here at SICC, if you don't mind, I know some of you are on your phones, go ahead and go to Sabah Parks Official on YouTube and also on Facebook. Just type in Sabah Parks and you'll be able to find the live broadcast, and please share it with anyone that you know so that more people will be able to tune in. And for those of you who are joining in right now, I hope that you'll be able to push the love button and continue to interact with us, please. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have distinguished representatives from the International Union for Conservation of Nature, also known as IUCN. And today, they would like to share their messages with us, Melissa? Now, Melissa, I know that IUCN is an acronym, or to a lot of people who are just now knowing about IUCN, I hope they know that it's more than just an acronym. They do important work around the world. Yeah, Melissa?
That's right. I'd be happy to share, Ben. The IUCN is a membership union composed of government and civil society organizations. It harnesses the experience, resources, and reach of its more than 1,400 member organizations and the input of thousands of experts. The IUCN is indeed the global authority on the status of the natural world and the measures needed to safeguard it. And on that note, please join me now in welcoming on stage Dr. Madhu Rao, Chair of the IUCN World Commission of Protected Areas. Dr. Madhu Rao.
A very good afternoon to all of you. The Honorable Datuk Seri Panglima Jeffrey Kittingan, 2nd Deputy Chief Minister of Sabah, representing the Right Honorable Chief Minister of Sabah. The Honorable Datuk Jafri bin Arifin, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment, Sabah. The Honorable Datuk George Anthony Jinibun, Deputy Speaker of the Sabah State Assembly. The Honorable Datuk Surveyor Haji Muhammad Yusri Abdullah, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment, Sabah, and Chairman of the 2nd APC Sabah State Level Steering Committee. Dr. McLaren Lakim, Director of Sabah Parks and Co-Chair of the 2nd APC International Steering Committee. Dr. Razan Al-Mubarak, President IUCN. Dr. Gretel Aguilar, Deputy Director General IUCN, distinguished participants, friends, and colleagues. On behalf of the IUCN World Commission of Protected Areas, I am delighted to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the 2nd Asia Parks Congress. We live in one of the most biodiverse regions of the world. The tropical forests of Southeast Asia, the reefs of the Coral Triangle, the temperate forests and the large river basins found in this region are among the most unique on Earth. We have spectacular and iconic wildlife found nowhere else in the world. Our rich cultural heritage is intertwined with our rich natural heritage. One cannot exist without the other. Yet, nature as we know it is at grave risk. During the past 50 years, escalating demand for energy and natural resources has meant that with dams and other energy infrastructure, commercial agriculture, and overexploitation of wildlife, economic forces have transformed natural ecosystems at an unmatched scale and intensity. This deterioration of nature and its vital contributions to people has significant implications for human well-being. Without a doubt, we are faced with a serious biodiversity crisis. We urgently need to halt and reverse the degradation of species and ecosystems that are vital to humanity. And then we have the climate emergency. Biodiversity loss and climate change represent an unprecedented challenge for humanity. We are all here at the 2nd Asia Parks Congress for a single purpose: to celebrate parks. Protected and conserved areas are the critical piece linking the twin crises of biodiversity loss and climate change. We need to strengthen and improve their effectiveness in order to benefit both nature and people. With all of you, the 2nd Asia Parks Congress convenes the region's leaders, practitioners, and decision makers from government, civil society, indigenous peoples from Asia, and around the world to respond effectively to these global challenges. The Congress theme, Parks for Nature and People, emphasizes the centrality of nature for human well-being. Parks, however, are under great stress and therefore unable very often to meet their potential. Continuing with business as usual is not an option. Instead, we have to look deeply into transformative action to secure nature for a healthy planetary future. So what can we do to address the current situation we find ourselves in? First, we have significant opportunity to draw on advancements in science and technologies, integrating traditional knowledge and ground-up approaches in developing effective solutions. We have many conservation success stories to build on. Second, we could diversify governance and management arrangements, bringing in both traditional and non-traditional partners, such as indigenous peoples and the private sector, for a truly collaborative stewardship of nature. Finally, we need strong political will and commitment. Without this, we cannot achieve the transformative change that is urgently needed. The time to act is now. We have to act purposefully and strategically to position protected and conserved areas as core mechanisms to address biodiversity loss, climate change, and prevent future pandemics. As nations around the world get ready to adopt new global biodiversity targets, this Congress is an important opportunity for us in Asia to collectively build momentum toward a bold commitment for the recovery of nature, setting an ambitious agenda for biodiversity conservation for this coming decade and beyond. An important ally in this process is the IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas. Its mandate is to develop and provide scientific, technical, and policy advice and advocate for global and national systems of protected and conserved areas that result in successful conservation outcomes. I would like to thank all of you for your active engagement in this Congress. Your knowledge, experience, and commitment are key to securing the future of protected and conserved areas across the Asian region, for people and for nature. I wish all of us an engaging and impactful Congress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rao. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Gretel Aguilar, Deputy Director General, IUCN. Por favor, Dr. Aguilar.
All of you. The Honorable Datuk Serim Paglima Joffrey Kitingan, Second Deputy Chief Minister of Sabah, representing the Right Honorable Chief Minister of Sabah, the Honorable Datuk Jafri bin Afrin, Minister of Tourism and Culture and Environment, Sabah, the Honorable Datuk Josh Anthony Ginubin, Deputy Speaker and Sabah State Assembly, the Honorable Datuk Subeyu Haji Mohamed Yasuri Abdullah, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment, Sabah, and Chairman of the Second IPC Sabah State Level Steering Committee, Dr. Makalin Lakim, Director of Sabah Parks and Co-Chair of the Second IPC International Steering Committee, Dr. Razan Al-Murabak, IUCN President, Madhu Rao, Chair of the IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas, members of the diplomatic delegations, indigenous peoples and community leaders, distinguished participants, members of the World Commission on Protected Areas of IUCN in Asia and around the world, friends, colleagues, park rangers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, it is my great pleasure to be here in these beautiful lands and ocean, Sabah. Being part of this fantastic and second Asia Parks Congress is a privilege for IUCN. When Japan hosted the first Asia Park Congress in Sendai in 2013, we had no idea on how much our world was about to change. Of course, we knew about the twin crises of climate change and biodiversity loss, but we did not truly appreciate how quickly this will intensify. And we did not know that the COVID-19 will change our lives, our countries, and our economies, and our future plans. Climate change, biodiversity loss, and COVID are still here. And yet, so are we. We are here. Change in many ways, but also wiser and more determined to achieve IUCN vision for a just world that values and conserves nature. As one of Asia's first large and physical gatherings of environmental experts since the start of the pandemic, this Congress is a chance for a new beginning. You, in Asia, are in charge to manage over 12,300 protected areas. This is an honor, it's a privilege, and it's also a big responsibility. Since the modern concept of protected areas was born 200 years ago, these areas have greatly helped humanity to conserve nature. But we must be honest now with ourselves and recognize that the environmental movement needs to continue strengthening its actions. We need to work hand in hand with indigenous peoples' organizations. We need to recognize traditional knowledge. We need to acknowledge ancestral lands. And we need to work together with the communities recognizing community rights. I want us to use this second Asia Parks Congress as an opportunity to strengthen our work, an opportunity to learn from each other, an opportunity to listen to communities, an opportunity to listen to young voices and experts, governments, and civil society. Parks for Nature and People is a very powerful title, which is really at the heart of what we do, and we must live up to this. So over the next 4 days, we will learn about the need to govern and manage these areas fairly and effectively. We will learn how we can scale up success. We will highlight how these beautiful, protected, and conserved areas are worth conserving for their own sakes, but also how we need those protected areas for our survival and well-being. Protected and conserved areas give food, medicine, income to local communities. They give services to all of us, to humanity. They sequester carbon. They protect society from erosion and disasters like floods. Many of us probably remember the devastating 2004 Boxing Day tsunami. More than 200,000 people lost their lives, but in India, a protected area with mangrove forests saved many fishermen who hired from the waves. And crucially, during this pandemic, many communities could fall back on the natural resources and ecosystem services given by protected areas, and they could survive through the lockdowns and economic hardship. These areas are critical for the survival of the planet. We need everybody to be convinced of the relevance of protected areas to our well-being. That is why today, in this conference center, I am deeply honored to join all of you as we chart a future of Asia's protected and conserved areas. In closing, allow me to thank Malaysia, and particularly the state of Sabah, for generously hosting us and organizing this event. I wish to acknowledge the 6 working groups, lead organizations who developed the content of the thematic streams. I will also like to acknowledge the leads for the Youth Forum, as well as the co-organizers of the Indigenous Peoples and Local Communities Forums. These discussions will allow us to learn from groups who have too often gone unheard and unrepresented. And finally, I wish to thank all of you for making the time and efforts to be with us at this inspiring Congress, either physically or virtually. Your experience, your knowledge, your commitment, and your passion will determine the future of Asia's protected and conserved areas. I know we will succeed in conserving these areas for humanity, for people, for all of us, and for the future generations. So, Terima kasih. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us virtually this afternoon right here in Kota Kinabalu, please welcome Her Excellency Dr. Razan Al-Mubarak, the President of IUCN. Dr. Al-Mubarak, could you hear us?
Loud and clear.
Wonderful. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon, Your Honors, Your Excellencies, community members, indigenous leaders, members of the press, IUCN members, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is my great honor this afternoon to help welcome you to the Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia, for the 2nd Asia Parks Congress. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our country host, and in particular, the state of Sabah, for graciously welcoming us to this beautiful new Sabah International Conference Center. And I am sure I speak on behalf of the other delegates who could not be here in person, that we are truly jealous. This is indeed a striking location to celebrate the importance of protected and conserved areas. From the nearly 1 million hectare Tun Mustafa Marine Park to the 4,000 meter high peak of Mount Kinabalu, this region is truly symbolic of the important work being done to ensure that protected areas are both well-connected, well-managed, and effective. No doubt, ladies and gentlemen, these protected areas, like the other 35,000 protected areas established across the Asia-Pacific regions, are crucial to the future of our planet. Throughout my engagement, my meetings, my events as IUCN President, the centrality of protected areas has become more and more clear. Protected areas, conserved areas, conservation areas are not only critical to our fight against the loss of nature, but also to our fight against climate change. Well-designed and managed protected areas not only serve as bastions for biodiversity, but fundamentally and crucially fortify our health, they fortify our economies, they fortify our security and our identity. Furthermore, they can be powerful nature-based solutions that have the incredible potential to contribute around 30% of the climate mitigation that we need by 2030. Distinguished guests, given the importance of protected areas, we need to ensure that these areas are not paper parks or symbolic dots or polygons on a map. Instead, we need to ensure that these areas are at the right place, that they are effectively and equitably managed by and for local communities, that they are well connected and integrated into land and seascapes. In the coming days, as you gather in your working groups, please remember that your deliberations come at a particularly important time, when the international community is poised to adopt a new global biodiversity framework with a suite of new targets for protected areas. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to seize this moment of global environmental interest and ensure that together we forge a new deal and vision for nature, one with a nature-positive mission, where areas are not only protected, but are restored, where communities are not excluded, but empowered, where women and youth are engaged, and where science is embraced. As my colleagues, Dr. Rao and Dr. Gretel, both alluded to, and I would like to stress, IUCN is here to help. Established in 1948, IUCN is the oldest international organization dedicated to nature conservation. Today, with more than 1,400 member organizations and 18,000 international experts, many of whom are present today, we continue to innovate and offer knowledge products that form the cornerstones of our work on protected areas. From red lists to green lists, to the development of the global standard for nature-based solutions, the IUCN stands with you and by you to put nature and biodiversity at the forefront of the global agenda. The IUCN stands with you and by you to challenge the current funding delivery mechanism to support protected area management. As IUCN President, I look forward to working with you to help address the environmental challenges that we face today, and I am full of hope that together we can overcome these challenges, reverse biodiversity loss, and live in harmony with nature once again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention, and as I said, I very much look forward to working with you in the future. My very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Razan Al-Mubarak. To continue today's ceremony, we would like to invite on stage a very special guest who joins us from Japan. Please welcome Mr. Kazuaki Hoshino, co-chair First Asia Parks Congress, the former Director General for the Nature Conservation Bureau, Ministry of the Environment, Japan. Mr. Hoshino, please.
Honorable representatives of Sabah State Government, able President of IUCN, distinguished organizers, and ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to make remarks at the opening of the Second Asia Parks Congress on behalf of Japan and the host of the first APC. It was in 1972, or exactly 50 years ago, that the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment took place in Stockholm as the world's first intergovernmental meeting on the environment. Now, half a century later, global environmental problems have become more complex and serious. In June last year, a joint workshop of the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and IPBES, Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, released a report that addresses the interdependency of measures to prevent global warming and the conservation of biodiversity. The report emphasizes the need for comprehensive measures which deal with climate, biodiversity, and human society as a whole system. Global environmental problems require an urgent response, and there is no time to waste. In this context, the role of the protected areas are growing increasingly important. The first APC, which took place in Sendai, Japan in 2013, adopted the Asia Protected Areas Charter, the Sendai Charter, partly because this Congress was held in one of the cities hit hard by the 2011 Great East Japan earthquake. The character refers to the important roles protected areas can play for the prevention and reduction of and recovery from disasters, along with many other issues to be dealt with. At tomorrow's plenary, I will make a presentation on the achievements of the first APC. At the Congress, the importance of ECO-DRR, ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction, was recognized. The Japanese government organized discussions on the role of protected areas for disaster risk reduction at the 6th World Parks Congress, which was held in 2014 in Sydney, to enhance the implementation of ECO-DRR. Based on the outcome of the discussions and knowledge from particular cases, the Ministry of the Environment, Japan, and the IUCN developed a handbook called Protected Areas as Tools for Disaster Risk Reduction, a handbook for practitioners, and published it at the Third World Congress Disaster Risk Reduction in Sendai in 2015. Japan supports IUCN activities on nature-based solutions as well. In the second APC, Ministry of Environment Japan will organize the Working Group 1 on nature-based solutions for health and well-being, including ECO-DRR. For improving the quality and management of national parks, the Japanese government as a whole has worked to launch a project designated particularly for overseas visitors to national parks in Japan to enjoy nature to the full extent. Last year, the government amended relevant laws to establish a program to facilitate the use of national parks in terms of both hard and soft elements. However, the COVID-19 pandemic, which emerged in December 2019, has limited people's movements at home and abroad. This has had a significant impact on local economies that have national parks. On the other hand, we have witnessed a growing interest in nature and health across the world, which I think has helped increase expectations for national parks and other protected areas. From the standpoint of proper conservation of national parks and protected areas as well, I hope the pandemic will come to an end at the earliest date possible and visitors can feel safe using protected areas. This summer is the second part of the conference of the parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD COP15 Part 2 is scheduled to take place in China, where new global goals for the convention by 2030 are expected to be adopted. Ahead of this conference, Japan last year announced its commitment to the world to protecting and conserving 30% of the national land and sea by 2030. In April, the government released a roadmap towards this end. This is of its kind, the first of its kind in the world. Japan is now exploring ways to further enhance protected areas and to introduce OECM, other effective area-based management measures. Asia has an abundance of biodiversity and is a very important region in the conservation of global environment. Therefore, expanding protected areas and improving the quality of their management is a responsibility we should take on. In this sense, the Asia Protected Areas Partnership, which was launched at the 6th World Parks Congress, has a great significance. We need to leverage this second Asia Parks Congress to further strengthen collaboration among member countries and relevant institutions. Finally, I would like to conclude my speech by expressing my hope that the 5-day Congress will produce successful results, which will in turn send a meaningful message for the upcoming CBD COP15 Part 2. Thank you for your kind attention.
Arigatou gozaimasu, Mr. Kazuaki Hoshiro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's put some local flavor into this. Ben, izinkan saya berpantun sedikit.
Boleh ba kalau kau?
Pergi ke Tamparuli mencari kawan. Kawan ke KK mencari saya pula. Setinggi Kinabalu mencecah awan. Tinggi lagi penghargaan menjadi tuan rumah.
Thank you, Melissa, for adding that lovely touch of Malaysian spoken art and culture. As expressed by Melissa just now in that very Malay pantun poem, Sabah is truly honored to be the host of the second APC. From mountain high to ocean deep, Sabah is known for her rich biodiversity, making it a playground for naturalists and conservationists. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've been waiting for. To deliver his address on behalf of the Right Honourable Chief Minister of Sabah and to launch the second APC, please welcome the Honourable Datuk Seri Panglima Dr. Jeffrey Kitingan, Deputy Chief Minister for the State of Sabah, Malaysia. Datuk Seri Doctor, please.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all of you, particularly our foreign guests, to Sabah, the land below the wind. Salam hormat, salam keluarga Malaysia, salam Sabah Maju Jaya. Saya tujukan kepada the Honorable Datuk Jeffrey bin Arifin, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment Sabah, Datuk Surveyor Haji Muhammad Yusri Abdullah, the Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment Sabah, and who is also the Chairman of the Second Asia Pacific Conference on the State Level Steering Committee, the Honorable Deputy Speaker, Dato George Ginibun, Dr. McLaren Lakim, Director of Sabah Parks and Co-Chairman of the Second APC International Steering Committee, Dr. Rajan Al-Mubarak, the President of the IUCN, Dr. Gretel Aguilar, Deputy Director General of IUCDN, Dr. Dindo Champilan, the Regional Director, IUCN Asia, Dr. Madhu Rao, Chair IUCN World Commission of Protected Areas, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. Foremost, I wish to convey the Chief Minister, Right Honorable Dato Sri Panglima Haji Ji bin Haji Noor's greetings to all of you. Dato Sri is unable to be with us today due to a pressing matter that he has to attend to, and he has requested me to read his speech as follows. Foremost, selamat datang, a welcome, a very warm welcome to all participants who made the journey to Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia, and I was informed that there are over 1,000 participants joining us today in person and virtually. But I understand that there are more than 1,500 who registered today. So welcome once again to all of you. The Sabah State Government, through the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment Sabah, and its agencies, the Sabah Parks, is honored to host the second Asia Pacific Congress organized in collaboration with the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, or IUCN. Through the IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas, we wish to express our gratitude to the IUCN International Steering Committee and the Second Asia Parks Congress, and to the National Government of Malaysia for all the support rendered to us to ensure the success of this Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, as party to the Convention on Biological Diversity since 1994, Malaysia has been consistent in fulfilling its obligations to report on national biodiversity strategies and actions. Malaysia's first national policy on biological diversity was formulated in 1998. In 2016, Malaysia's commitment to biodiversity was strengthened further with the launch of the National Policy on Biological Diversity 2016 to 2025. Malaysia's target, especially in regards to protected areas, is clearly in this policy, which aims to have at least 20% of its terrestrial areas and inland waters and 10% of its coastal and marine areas conserved through a representative system of protected areas and other effective area-based conservation measures. Malaysia also adopted the United Nations Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, in September 2016. Since then, Malaysia has made significant progress towards the realization of the SDGs. Biodiversity conservation objectives are embedded within the SDGs because it underpins many economic activities, particularly those related to crop and livestock, agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and human well-being. In line with the efforts to achieve SDGs, Malaysia also commits to the 30 by 30 initiative, a worldwide initiative for governments to designate 30% of Earth's land and ocean area as protected areas by the year 2030. This initiative urges worldwide action to increase conservation efforts in all remaining areas in order to prevent biodiversity loss, protect ecosystem services, and combat and adapt to climate change. Malaysia is also proudly an active member of the Turtle Islands Heritage Protected Area, or TIHPA. THIPA agreement was signed on 31st May 1996, 26 years ago, and it is the first trans-frontier protected area for marine turtles in the world. THPA is one of the great efforts in conserving and preserving the important habitat of sea turtles between Philippines and Malaysia. Through this collaboration, illegal activities that jeopardize our sea turtles were reduced significantly. This collaboration is still intact, and it has kept our turtle population intact despite its many challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia is one of the 12 mega biodiverse countries in the world, with an estimated 15,000 species of vascular plants, 306 species of mammals, 742 species of birds, 242 species of amphibians, 567 species of reptiles, over 449 species of freshwater fish, and over 1,619 species of marine fish, and more than 150,000 species of invertebrates. Some of the iconic species in Malaysia include the Malayan tiger, the Malayan tapir, Asian elephant, orangutan, Sunda pangolin, and Sunda clouded leopard. Sabah and Sarawak combined host the richest rainforest in the world with a high diversity of dipterocarp, comprising 291 species or 71% of the family. With a total coastline of 8,840 kilometers and 879 islands, and 3 major coastal ecosystems, that is coral reefs, mangroves, and seagrass beds. These ecosystems represent some of the most diverse in the world and are important feeding grounds for juvenile fishes, migratory seabirds, and marine mammals. We are indeed proud that Malaysia is host to 4 UNESCO World Heritage Sites comprising cultural and natural heritage sites, namely Archaeological Heritage of Lenggong Valley, 2012, Malacca and Georgetown Historic Cities of the Straits of Malacca, 2008, Gunung Mulu National Park, 2000, and Kinabalu Park, 2000. Kinabalu Park was announced as part of the National Geopark and is now on its way to gain recognition as UNESCO's Global Park or Global Geopark. The idea of UNESCO Global Geopark is to develop areas with geological heritage of international value in a sustainable way that also benefited the community surrounding the geopark territory. The Crocodile Park in Sabah, the second man and biosphere site in Malaysia, serves as a crucial water catchment area. As an intergovernmental program, Man and Biosphere, or MAB, represents opportunities for international cooperation and focus for the coordination of related programs aimed at improving the management of natural resources and the environment. Ladies and gentlemen, the second Asia-Pacific Congress today brings together practitioners and other interested parties from Asia's protected areas, and I'm happy that Sabah, through the Sabah Pact, has a good and long partnership with IUCN on various issues. Sabah Pact is a signatory of the IUCN Red List, wherein animals listed in the Red List are prohibited from being collected or harmed within gazetted parks of Sabah. The organization is also part of the Asia Protected Areas Congress representing Malaysia. Furthermore, Sabah Parks has adopted IUCN Green List for the management of effectiveness standard, starting with the Tun Mustafa Park and on other gazetted areas by 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, Sabah Parks, as you know, by now is a conservation-based statutory agency with the objective of safeguarding the aesthetic, scientific, and historic heritage of the state of Sabah, Malaysia, and the island of Borneo. Established in 1964, Sabah Park is to manage and protect the ecological integrity of the natural areas. Parks represent the best of Sabah's natural environment and the incredible biodiversity. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Sabah government, once again, I wish to thank the IUCN, all participants who have contributed directly or indirectly in making the Congress a success. I also would like to say thank you to all the speakers that spoke today. On that note, it is my pleasure now to declare the Second Asia-Pacific Congress officially open. Thank you.
Kotohuadan, thank you, Datuk Seri Panglima. Please join us at the launching pad just down the stairs. And now, we would like to invite the following distinguished guests to join our guest of honor for the launch ceremony. Datuk Jeffrey Arifin, Datuk Surveyor Haji Muhammad Yusri Abdullah, Dr. Maclarin Lakim, Dr. Gretel Aguilar, Dr. Madhu Rao, Dr. Dindo Kampilan, and Mr. Kazuaki Hoshino. We would also like to welcome the remaining guests at the front to join our guest of honor at the front, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, on the count of 3, will activate the launch pad by placing a globe on the platform to officially open the Second Asia Parks Congress 2022. So let's count together, Ben?
Yes, indeed. It seems like our guest of honor has the globe already. Let's do the count.
Yes.
Let's do the countdown together.
1, 2, 3.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, the second Asia Parks Congress 2022 is now officially opened. Ladies and gentlemen, Dato' Jeffrey Arifin would like to present a few tokens of appreciation for our guests for their presence this afternoon. We would like to invite the Honourable Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment, Dato' Jeffrey Arifin, to be on stage. Dato' Jeffrey, please. Dato' Jeffrey Arifin would like to present a token of appreciation to Dr. Madhu Rao, Chair, IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas. Dr. Rao, please. To Dr. Madhu Rao, welcome to Sabah. Next, Dr. Gretel Aguilar, Deputy Director General, IUCN. Selamat datang ke Sabah, Dr. Gretel Aguilar. And last but not least, to our guest of honor, the Honorable Datuk Seri Panglima, Dr. Jeffrey Kitingan, the Deputy Chief Minister of Sabah. We would like Dr. Madhu Rao and also Dr. Gretel Aguilar to be back on stage for a group photography session, please. Dr. Rao and Dr. Aguilar, please. And let's have our distinguished guests to pose. And we invite the members of the media or friends from the media to be at the front of the stage for a group photography session. Friends of the media, please. Perhaps a thumbs up this time. Thank you very much.
Ben, if I could share a little cultural anecdote in today's event. Some of you may have noticed a recurring pattern in our backdrop. You can see it behind your programs as well. And it's not a random design as you may think. The pattern you see is called the Nantuapan, a traditional motif of the indigenous Murut people, which symbolizes a place of gathering and the meeting of people. Hence, in the spirit of being together, working towards a common goal here today, the Nantuapan is well represented, Ben.
I love that symbolism. Once again, welcome to Sabah.
We're reaching the end of our program for today, so before we end, we'd like to acknowledge all those who made this event possible today, starting with our main organizers, Sabah Parks and IUCN. We'd also like to acknowledge the six working group leads, and they are the Ministry of the Environment Japan, ASEAN Center for Biodiversity, Sabah Parks Malaysia, WWF Malaysia, UNDP, and Singapore National Parks. Thank you.
The IPLC Forum is organized by the following: PACOS Trust, Asia Indigenous Peoples Pact, ICCA Consortium Southeast Asia with the support from 13 organizations. I know many of them are represented here. As I mention your name, please wave. Ministry of the Environment, Japan. Korea National Park Service. Agence France Development. Arcadia, a charitable fund of Lisbeth Rousing and Peter Baldwin. The International Work Group of the Indigenous Affairs. Open Development Initiative. Ford Foundation, the small grants program implemented by the UNDP, WWF, UICN, Commission on Environmental, Economic and Social Policy, IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas, Forest Peoples Program, and the Environmental Systems Research Institute, the global leader in geospatial technology, serving over 5,000 conservation organizations globally, with a wide array of focused solutions for managing conservation areas, landscape-level conservation planning, and community conservation initiatives. We would also like to thank the organizers for the Youth Forum, Sabah Parks, Ministry of Youth and Sports Sabah, IUCN WCPA, and Korea National Park Service.
Last but not least, we would like to acknowledge APC's official partners, starting with Sabah Tourism Board, the official venue SICC, official technical support SoundsTech Pro, official ground handler Borneo Excursion, official airlines Malaysia Airlines, our virtual event provider Event Assist, and the official exhibition provider Instant Exhibition. Terima kasih kotohwa dan shesheni kamsahamnida. Maraming salamat, arigato gozaimasu, and thank you for making this event possible today.
Now don't forget, we will need each and every one of you back here in the hall at 7 p.m. for the welcome reception. Trust me, you will not want to miss this informal gathering today. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, Datuk Seri Panglima Dr. Jeffrey Kittingan, will now depart the hall to view the exhibition located at the Kinabatangan Hall located downstairs, accompanied by our distinguished guests. With that, this marks the end of the opening ceremony for the second Asia Parks Congress right here in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia. We hope to see you at the welcoming reception tonight at 7 p.m. right here in this hall.
We'd also like to invite you to the exhibition tour at Level 2 Kinabatangan Hall. So please enjoy the exhibition, and we'll see you here at 7 p.m.
Indeed. My name is Ben Uzair.
And I'm Melissa Leong.
See you tonight at 7 p.m.